Looking to go to the convention center where Trump will be speaking in a few days. I thought I'd go down here early in relation to what happened yesterday because I'm sure it's going to be a nightmare in traffic. So I thought I'd come down here today. So again, this is Friendship Pearson. Welcome to Friendship Blue. I am in Wisconsin, and I'll be taping. I'll get back with you momentarily. I'm going to navigate because I haven't been in this area in years. So check it out. You're going to see a lot of military people are here right now. A lot of military, police. You see through the fence. A lot of security. So again, this is Friendship Pearson. I am in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I am not too far from the convention center. It took me about an hour and a half to get here. I'm live, Friendship Blue. As you can see, a lot of police here at the convention center. I'll talk through some things. I'll literally show you guys some pictures and go from there. I'll film as I go. All the news agencies are here. Everybody's here. You guys can see that. Fox News, Democracy 24. Interesting, the 24, right? Is it the 24 as in the X, or is it just the 24 because it's 2024? I always wondered that, right? But yeah, be that as it may, that's what's going on. So yeah, all the media and the international media, I'm sure, are going to be here. This is the place here. You guys can see this here. It's the, sorry about the music. You guys can see it. RNC 2024 Milwaukee. You guys checking that out? So yeah, people, I was there a couple of weeks ago, and welcome to Friendship Blue. I am Friendship Pearson. It is August 8th of 2024, 8:49 a.m. How are you guys? And let's say it together. Praise God, from whom all blessings flow. So yeah, people, in a few more weeks, actually August 19th, there will be the DNC, the Democratic National Convention, right here in Chicago. And I will be there. The question is when. The question is when. As I looked into this thing again the last few days, there are a lot of threats going on here, people. I'm gonna say it again. As I looked into this DNC convention that's coming here in Chicago, starting on the 19th, there are a lot of threats. There are also some planned protests. Palestinian protests, of course, they don't want the war. And there are also blacks. Blacks have been protesting for a long time, but we're not making any headway in terms of our new mayor, Mr. Johnson. The migrant crisis is our biggest issue. And so I'm going to feature that information today. And again, my question is, when will I go down there? I'm speculating probably 2 days before it happens, because if I do go down there the first day, I'm really thinking I'm going to be a couple of blocks away. When you see what I'm going to show you, I'm sure you have to respect that. I ain't trying to get hurt. There was an incident way back in the day with the 1968 convention here in Chicago. I was only, 10 years old at the time, but that's when we had Papa Mayor Daley back in the day, and he wasn't taking no mess. He won and lobbied for the DNC to be here in Chicago, and you can go watch any film on social media. Man, it was rough. And again, there's some threats coming up right now in relation to Chicago. So hey, I'm gonna be extra careful. Be that as it may, let's go down to this rabbit hole. So this convention is starting on August 19th, all the way through the 22nd. Thousands of people, but from what my research, they're saying tens of thousands, maybe 25,000. Who knows will be there. This is the past convention, August 23rd, all the way to August 28th. A day that will live in infamy. it was rough, and that's an understatement. A lot of cracking heads back in the day for the demonstrations. And guess what? You know, I teach the 5 C's of clues, codes, colors, comprehension, time, and conclusion, but I also teach that things do season and cycle. And back in the day in 1968, there was a war, the Vietnam War. And because of that war, I decided not to go to the military. I was going to go to the Navy. But as I did more research, I'm like, wait a minute. This is really not about defending the country. It's about the big business and what they wanted. And because my political nose was real deep back in the day, I declined. I kind of regret it because I wanted to go on the sea and travel the world and get an education. But hey, God made other plans. And when I say God made other plans, he literally showed me. I've shared that with you guys on my last channel, that I felt God had his hand on me and wanted me to write. So I got out of it. I'm glad I did. And even today, trust me, there's war going on in different parts of the world, and people were protesting about the war back in the day with Vietnam, and people are protesting today. And back in the day, you had Lyndon B. Johnson was the president. Guess what? He resigned. And guess what? A few weeks ago, Joe Biden was quote unquote forced out. You see how things repeat? Or should I say, all in the plan of the powers? I'm gonna say it again, all in the plan of the powers. Now, back in the day, we had the 1968 Democratic National Convention. I'm gonna read some things to you. International Amphitheater Convention, Chicago. Earlier that year, Lyndon B. Johnson had announced he would not seek re-election, thus making the purpose of the convention to select a new president nominee for the Democratic Party, just like today, right? The most contentious issues of the convention were the continuing American military involvement in Vietnam. Isn't that something? And now we got a Middle Eastern war. And voting reform, particularly expanding the right to vote for draft age soldiers, which is coming up again today, right, in a sense, who were unable to vote as the voting ages was 21. The convention also marked a turning point where previously inert groups such as young and minorities became more involved in politics and voting. The convention of 1968 was held during a year of riots, political turbulence, and mass civil unrest. The assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. in April of that year, following his opposition to the Vietnam War, further inflamed racial tensions in addition to the draft and popular opposition to voter suppression. Isn't that something? History does repeat, doesn't it? We got an attempted assassination of Trump a few weeks ago. What a crazy time, people. I tell you, the more I researched this back in the day and even currently, it still lingers in my mind. Again, Chicago went through a hit on so many levels, and my biggest fear is that there was going to be some retaliation in relation to Trump, which I'll show you. They have a high alert in relation to that. And also to hurt our economy. We're the third biggest economy, I think, in the United States. And we don't need that. We had that under the last mayor. And I can imagine certain parts of the West Side, which United Center is, where the Bulls play basketball and the Chicago Blackhawks play hockey. I can imagine that area of the West Side, which is going through gentrification the last maybe 25, 30 years. I can see that area being shut down and locked down economically. Greektown is in that area, a very vibrant ethnic community, beautiful area. It's really becoming changed, and the economics are growing. You got Malcolm X College out there, and those are the kind of things I'll be talking about when I go out there. But yeah, people, economically, we could hurt from this thing. We can hurt from this thing. If this thing gets too out of hand, a lot of people will go to jail. probably, look, if it's anything like 1968, we in trouble. That's why I say I might not be down there. I'm not trying to be a casualty. Okay, so yeah. Next, let's go into this here. Lawyers for protest Palestinian demonstrators reject latest city proposed route for DNC protests. Exactly 2 weeks from Monday, tens of thousands of people are expected to gather in Chicago's Union Park. The designated starting point for those wanting to protest is within sight and sound of the Democratic National Convention, which is taking place at the United Center, but the exact route is still unclear as the city's latest proposal continues to be challenged in federal court. What I'm finding is that major protesters like the Palestinian group, they want to be closer and they want it to be broader. That is, if you're gonna give me X amount of space, I need double the space because we have X amount of thousand of people coming. So a judge is gonna be making a decision 6 days, keyword 6 days before the convention. So yeah, it's gonna be tense. They haven't settled on the, I guess like the parade route, not the parade route, but the protest route and how much space they're gonna give them. I see the 5 Ds at work. The 5 Ds are delay, deny, debate, derail, and destroy. And this will be a lot, again, they're adding to the tension to make it. They've known this convention was going to happen years in advance. So now all of a sudden you want to consider how you're going to do it. Are you kidding me? That's crazy. So let's play a few videos, see where we stand.
But some of the protesters that I spoke with say that they want more space, they want to be closer to the United Center, and they also want more than double the amount of the space that Chicago police is offering. After 2 hours of arguments in a federal courtroom Monday, Judge Andrea Wood said that she would make a decision before the convention begins in less than 2 weeks. Wood promised a decision at least 6 days before the DNC. Protesters say that the smaller route proposed is a violation of their First Amendment rights. And organizers from dozens of different activist groups, including immigrant right groups, LGBTQ plus protesters, and anti-racist groups say that they want to end U.S. military aid to Israel and create an independent Palestinian state.
We're going to continue to fight, and we're going to continue to pressure the city of Chicago to give us this route because it's in the best interest of the tens of thousands of protesters, and it's in the best interest of the city.
As you can see, they are planning, and that's an understatement, coalition to march on DNC route. They want to expand it. Like I said, it's too small for them is what they're saying. Now my question is also, when they do this, if it gets rowdy, back in the day, the mayor cracked heads. And lately with this liberal wokeness, our last mayor, and I'm assuming this mayor's gonna do the same, they're gonna let them get out of hand, people. There has been a lot of progress on the West Side the last 20 to 25 years. And overnight, it could go back 10 or 20 years economically. In other words, a lot of things can be destroyed. And I believe that this mayor is a New World Order mayor, being that he's gonna let things just get out of hand. Allegedly, I say allegedly. What I'm thinking is that his strategy is going to stink and it's gonna literally wreak havoc, and economically it's gonna crush the West Side of Chicago. And when I say the West Side of Chicago, once I go over there and film, which it might even be today, but I wanna go there a few days ahead of time, but you'll see. The area is starting to become prosperous. It takes time, but that area, less than 3 blocks from the United Center, is predominantly black and poor, and it has its pockets of gentrification, but it has not progressed as much as certain parts of the city where it put money at. So overnight, this thing can be blighted, hurting the black community once more. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? controlled chaos, allegedly.
Usual.
We don't recommend that employers encourage their employees to stay home. We don't feel that's necessary unless you're directly within the event perimeter.
If you're in the yellow or red security zone,
there will be some temporary changes to in-person class registration.
Like the president of Malcolm X College at his campus 3 blocks south of the United Center, all buildings will be closed to visitors during the convention, according to the campus. 2 blocks further south at Rush Hospital, they're just outside the yellow zone and encouraging folks who can work from home to do so. But employees a mile and a half west in Fulton Market at John Deere Corporate, 200 employees advised to work remotely during the DNC, according to the company.
It's very common in the run-up to major events for folks to have some sort of anxiety about what's happening.
From what I'm going to show you, the anxiety is real. Stay home. That's just what I'm feeling. Stay home. I'm looking at the history and the trends of Chicago. Chicago's a test city. I believe the powers are utilized in cities like New York and Chicago to just see how much they can get away with. What's the barometer and the tolerance level of the people? And the goal is to kill the economy. That's just where I've always felt it. I can tell what they're doing in relation to what they're not doing. That's the logic. Now here's a gentleman who's fighting this cause. Check it out. He's fighting for the black people, saying, look, you brought all these migrants over here, they haven't paid a dime in taxes. You're getting them free health care, free shelter, and you got blacks literally living in the street. And guess what? He's right. And like I said in other videos, you think it's not coming to the suburbs and other parts of Chicago and other cities? It's coming. They test the minority areas or the low-income areas first. That's how the powers do. Then it just spreads out like a cancer.
And black people speak for black.
Oh, yes, sir.
Black Americans. We're not African American. We're not people of color. We're not black and brown, minority,
That's right.
BIPOC. None of that. People, no, none of that. This is about our people demanding the resources, just as you're giving these people, these newcomers who are walking into this
That's
country.
right. You were right.
And sister's correct. How do you take a new group of people that have paid no taxes, can't vote, and you put them in front of the voters?
I'm not going to pay them no damn taxes.
And so we say this to you, Mayor, Governor, President, if you think that they're that powerful that you have to acquiesce and answer to them over us, then you tell them to vote for you these next elections.
That's right.
You tell them to support your Democratic National Convention. Well, we're going to show you how we feel about the Democratic National
Turn
Convention.
it up.
If you think you're going to have a peaceful Democratic National Convention in the city of Chicago while our people are starving,
That's right.
stay tuned. Oh, man.
What I anticipate is this. Sometimes you gotta think like the devil. I think something's gonna try to spark it, and the clash will be between blacks and Palestinians. That's what I'm thinking these agitators are gonna do. These alleged paid people are gonna be out here. Not this gentleman. I don't know him. What I'm saying is that if I'm a devil, I got 2 major protests going on, right? Thousands of blacks and thousands of Palestinian, or just hundreds of, or just thousands of people, period, out there protesting in relation to the issue. Okay, you know where I stand on the war. I don't want no war. I'm not standing on either side. I'm just saying I don't want war. And as a black person or just a resident here in Chicago, I sure in the hell don't like this poverty. And I sure in the hell don't like that the mayor, in conjunction with the White House, sleepy Joe Biden, has brought, 3 million plus illegals here in Chicago. I don't know what the number is, but it's out of hand. And it's a slap in the face. I did a video the other day where a female migrant, Venezuela, not to pick on them, but I showed you the video in the Bronx at a bodega, I believe it was, at a bodega in New York, and she left her receipt from her EBT card. Still had $13,000 worth of food stamps on there, and $5,000 left, whatever left in cash. And that's the end of the month. So her money was about to increase. Now times that times 100,000 people. They're giving money away to people who haven't done anything for the country. So can you blame a black person or any person to be upset? And the Democratic National Convention is the perfect place to go. And I put that in quotes. If there isn't some people out there who want to spark some violence and do some things like they did in 1968. Do I believe the one in 1968 was instigated? Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. The devil stays busy, and again, he repeats seasons and cycles. And yeah, there could be some very serious damage done. And in terms of accomplishing things for black people, every 3 months there's a meeting with the mayor, begging, screaming, hollering, asking them to get these minorities under control. Getting these illegals under control, fighting, stealing, robbing, breaking in people's cars, breaking in people's garages. Just Google it. Watch some YouTube videos. It's all over. It's not only Chicago, it's everywhere. And we black people, we suffering over here. And this is crazy. We got a subtle takeover. Like I said, Chicago is a test city. It's a test city, people. And it's coming your way. A weak black America is a weak America, in my humble opinion. Now check him out. Here he is again, out in the street, talking about issues in relation to migrants. Check this out.
Children who are already struggling academically, you're gonna bring in a new group of children, a new group of people, take those resources away from Americans to accommodate this new group of people. That is gonna make the children gonna fall further behind. Unemployment is going through the roof. Poverty, crime. This is going to impact our communities across this city to the point to where violence, murder, robbery is going to spike. Not just with Americans, but also with these people coming here. 3,000 illegal immigrants are living in this factory, almost a half a block long? And this is going to transcend into public housing. They keep saying that there will be no public housing for illegal immigrants. That's not true. So we pay to be homeless, basically, now as United States citizens. We're going to flip Chicago red. The Democratic Party is done in Chicago, and that's a fact. By summer,
Chicago, black folks are speaking. He's right. Now here's a law enforcement guy. This is serious, so listen to it. But let me show you something first they came up with. The 131 mark, this is what they're talking about, possibility of what's going on. Election-related infrastructure, cause mass casualty incidents, denigrate democratic institutions, cause social, societal chaos. This is what they're looking at. The FBI is putting this out, the FBI. They're planning, and they think they're responding to the threats that they've been getting. So check it out.
We can think of on the spectrum of threats as something that we have to be prepared for and something we have to respond to.
And tonight, 2 weeks after the I-Team disclosed a shakeup coming atop the FBI here in Chicago, and that former Chicago agent Douglas DePodesta would be installed as special agent in charge just in time for the DNC, FBI Director Chris Wray today announced that DePodesta had indeed been named to the agency's top job in Chicago. As we first reported last month, DePodesta being transferred from the FBI field office in Memphis, he has a baptism by fire awaiting as the DNC National Security Special event starts 2 weeks from today. His own FBI threat assessment is an alarming forecast using terms such as targeted violence. The report cites potential attacks in retaliation for the Trump assassination attempt, including possible violence against elected officials and government employees, candidates for public office, law enforcement, and members of the news media.
What?
Can you understand why I won't go now? Possibly. I'll go a few days ahead of time and scour the area. But if I go, it's going to be early. I'm going to stay out of the area, and then I'm going to be done. And if I feel comfortable with that, I'm going to keep doing it But when the crowd comes in, I'm leaving. I got to use my instinct. People, we are living in these crucial days where Satan is employing a strategy. This is his little season, as you well know, and he's changing the atmosphere. He's changing the physical. He's changing the mind. He's deceiving people because he wants the land. He wants the land. Remember, the goal is to shake and tear down what was, cause disorder, because it's about the domain. And Chicago being the third biggest city, crack the egg, make some omelets, and hey, serve it up the way he wants to. It's the one world system at play. I'm Crenshaw Pearson. Enjoy the work. Thumbs up, share, think about it. If you're in Chicago, I would strongly suggest don't go nowhere near that area. It's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be crazy. That's what I'm predicting. It's gonna be crazy. I pray I'm wrong. God bless.